Hello, this is the Sapient One from the Financial Independence Mindset.com website. Today I will be running through the steps to load Chitika ad content to your WordPress site. Via Google search, one will find that Chitika is an ad network that has commonly been observed and known to be a Google AdSense alternative from the standpoint that for those who have been banned from Google AdSense or were not initially accepted, Chitika has been known to be a useful alternative in displaying ads on their blogs or websites. Likewise, Chitika is also known to be a useful complement to the Google AdSense network and ads displayed on one. So today we'll walk through the steps to place an ad on your WordPress site and some useful plugins that allow easier placement of those ads on your site due to the differences between the ad code from Google AdSense or Chitika versus Google AdSense. I'll get into that a little bit later. The first thing you need to do would obviously be to establish an account with Chitika. Fairly easy to sign up. There are no minimum impression or view requirements for a website. So this is an ideal service for a new blog or someone who's just starting out or someone with low traffic. If you are hesitant or would like to establish an account based on a feel free to check out my website at financialindependencemindset.com/Chitika, and that will lead you to establishing or setting up an account for the Chitika ad network. Once you do have an account set up, you will need to let the network know that your site is active. And again, here Chitika is a little bit different from Google AdSense in that the mechanism to contact the Chitika servers is to actually put an ad on your website. For Google AdSense, it's a little different. You take some code and insert it into your header. It's not an ad actually, but it does perform a similar function. So what I found useful is to establish the ad in the header or the footer of the site. When you log on to Chitika or log in and go to the ads page, you'll see a number of options for ads. We've got the, I'm going to say standard, but this is the large rectangular ad, 550 by 250 that they recommend. This is more of a standard 300 by 250 rectangle ad. You have your leader ad, which would be a header or footer ad. And you have a mobile banner ad that obviously could be tailored to a mobile site, or if you wanted to use that ad at the top of a page, then this would be an ideal size for that particular function. And then we have the wide skyscraper ads, which would be more appropriate for sidebar. Anyway, we're going to go back to the leader ad, select the Get Code button, copy, and now we're all set. We would take this ad code to our WordPress site and then apply this ad code to the site via plugins. And I've got 3 plugins that I use that I found very useful. The first is the head and footer inserter, and actually I have 2 versions of this. One is the head and footer scripts inserter, and the other is the insert headers and footers. Both plugins I found very useful, easy to work with on my sites, and as you can see, I've got some content in there. in the footer in particular in this case. And then for the insert headers and footers, I've got content in here, and this is actually where I placed the Chitika ad code, and you can see by the with 728 by 90 this leaderboard ad that appears on the site. If you had any questions about actually getting a hold of these plugins, we'll go back and take a look at the name and just kind of quickly run through how you would add the plugin to your particular WordPress site. Go to plugins, add new, and simply type in the name, insert header, footer, and it would bring up all of the versions of insert header and footer plugins that were available. So then you would just need to match up the plugin by the creator of the plugin. And in that case, it was a WordPress beginner plugin that we were actually looking at. So that's a little bonus. This is outside of the Chitika activity, but just in case you needed some guidance on that, that is how you would add a plugin to your site. So we'll go back and take a look at what we have. So I've got the ad code on my web page via the plugin and the header and footer, and we'll take a look and see how that ad looks. And here's that particular ad. Now, I will say one thing about Chitika. I think AdSense is a little bit more contextual in their ads. The ads are very rich, dynamic ads, but the AdSense ads are just a tiny bit more contextual. But beyond that, I haven't had any issues working with the Chitika ad network. So this is the header ad, and once that ad is established, the servers over at Chitika will get communication, and your site will be verified, and you are now basically set up to begin to receive impressions and views and the subsequent dollar amounts that are tied to those impressions and views. So we'll go ahead and close this out. And then I'll talk about the other ways to add Chitika ads to your site. So I mentioned the wide skyscraper. This particular ad is very useful in the sidebar. And at the very beginning of the discussion here, I mentioned that the Chitika ads are JavaScript code as opposed to the HTML code. And basically what that means is that you cannot just apply the Chitika ad code to a text widget and embed the code either on your sidebar or within your blog content. The ad will not show you need some method of translating that JavaScript to HTML language that will then be read and activated on your website. So for the sidebar, I found that the add widget tool has been quite useful. Actually, the plugin has been quite useful in accomplishing that. And we'll go ahead and go with install plugins. I was trying to get back to settings, but we'll go this way. It's no big deal. And here it is, WordPress ad widget. And within my drop-down menu, it's simply called Add Widget. Go to our widgets page. And I'll kind of quickly walk through this setup here. So for this particular plugin, there are a number of available widgets, in particular the Add HTML Java Ad Script widget box that can be applied to your blog sidebar, your top header left, your footer widget, page sidebar, or your top header right. Additionally, there are all of these other options of widgets that can be applied to these same areas on your website, but for now we're talking about the Add HTML JavaScript widget. So for the sidebar, then obviously we want to add that widget, which we would simply add by literally dragging it over to the sidebar area and then copying our ad code. I'm not going to do that here because I actually have that ad code loaded already in this script. Actually, that's another ad network. I'm sorry. I guess we will do that here. And this is actually the blog sidebar, so I'm not targeting the correct area. So we're going to move this and add this widget. If I can get it down there, get back up, stop, to the page sidebar. So now there should be, close that, now there should be 2, 3, 4, there 3, sorry. Okay, 3 widgets assigned, 2 editor widgets and 1 HTML JavaScript ad widget. And I just clicked on the wrong box, I apologize. Anyway, so this is the ad code from that Chitika page. And you can see that the width and size are 160 by 600, which is confirmed that that is the correct ad code. For wide sidebar or skyscraper, yes, 160 by 600. So let's go ahead and figure out where that location is. That's this second or first JavaScript, third widget. So this would be the first ad on our standard page sidebar. So let's go ahead and go back to our page. And there you have it. This third ad right here. These first 2 ads are AdSense ads. And as you can see, again, they're very contextual. Paragraph here is about passive income, mindset, etc., etc. This is fairly contextual. It's about want to retire comfortably. Let's take a look at one of the other pages. We got incorporating. We'll take a look at what the ad looks like on this page. Okay, yeah, so we have a Lenovo Windows 10 ad that displays on this page that's about incorporating. So likewise, this isn't particularly contextual, but you get the idea. It's a rich display ad, so it fits nicely with the site. The third type of ad that I will cover, which uses a completely different plugin, is the rectangular or mega unit ad. And I'm going to go ahead and go back to my site to figure out which I've already uploaded, so don't change my settings too much. So it's the same steps. We go to settings, there we go. And for this particular addition of ads, which will be within the body of the content of your site or of your page. So we've covered the header and the footer. We've covered the sidebars. Now we're talking about within the content, either before it, within it, or after the content. Very, very targeted, specific placement of these ads within the content of your site. And for that particular addition of ad code, I use the Ad Inserter widget. The Ad Inserter widget has 16 blocks that allow you to apply 16 different ad codes that can be placed on your site. You can see for the first block, I've got a Chitika ad in there, 320 by 50 height. So if we go back to the Chitika site, take a look and figure out which one this is, we'll see this is the mobile banner. So this is an ad that I likely have at the top of the content on my site and probably before any of the content appears. And we'll go find that out when we go look at the site. But anyway, you would follow the same functions, copy the code, paste it in here. But within the ad inserter, the flexibility is in your ability to place the ad exactly where you want it. In this case, it's before the content, but it could have been before the post, before a specific paragraph, after the post, etc. I've chosen to apply this particular set of ad instructions to all posts. So those would be blog posts and all static pages. So those are all the pages on the website in addition to the home page, and that the ad be aligned to the left. So we'll take a look and see what this ad looks like on the website. And again, this is by just going by areas. This is our header area. This is our sidebar. And this is the content. So that ad instruction was to be placed above or before the content. The content includes this incorporated pictograph or picture, and so the ad is placed above the pictograph or picture. If I had said before the post, this particular ad would appear before the actual words that display the content. So as I said, you can get very, very specific in your targeting using that ad inserter plugin. So it's a very, very powerful plugin. And just to show you that the instructions have traveled all the way through, we'll take a look at another page. And you'll see the ad there. And if we go to the blog and look at a post, you'll see the ad appear there. So the ad inserter is a very, very powerful plugin that gives great flexibility and specificity of where you want to put these or place these Chitika ads on your WordPress sites. And then finally, before we wrap up, I want to talk about some of the pros and probably the biggest con for the Chitika ad network. The biggest pro is you don't need high traffic. In fact, you don't need any traffic to apply to the Chitika ad network. Another big pro to me is the very, very detailed reporting function. In the reports, you get a daily update hourly update really, of your impressions by page view. You get indication of how many of your ads were blocked, how many of your ads were no bid, and what the CPM rates were for the ads that were or did achieve viewable content. And then finally, in reporting the dollar amount that has been earned for that, actually displays that information in thousandths of a cent. I think I'm saying that correctly. So we would be taking this out to the fourth decimal place. So 0.0001 would be the lowest threshold of earnings that you could see on that site. And one may ask, why would you need to know something to that level of specificity? But it may be important because on these other ad networks, that level of activity would just show up as 0. On Chitika, it shows up as something. So at least you know that something is occurring, that you are earning revenue even at a low rate. Now, the one biggest con on Chitika is that the Chitika CPM rates are low compared to Google AdSense. I can't mince words. They are low. But again, it is a useful alternative. And if you're in a situation, where you've been blocked from Google AdSense, it is a very useful alternative for placing ads on your website. So in summary, today we've covered placing Chitika ads on your WordPress site. I've used 3 plugins, 2 of which apply ad code to your header and footer. That's the head and footer inserter and the insert headers and footers. Likewise, I use the Ad Widget plugin to place ads in the sidebar. And then finally, I use the Ad Inserter plugin to place ads within the body of the text of the page or post within your website or blog. And I've done that because, again, unlike AdSense, Chitika ads are JavaScript-based code that must be translated to HTML to allow it to activate and show up on your particular website. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me via email. The email address is here, creassetz@gmail.com. Or comment on my website. Visit my website, financialindependencemindset.com. Leave a comment. And if you do want to sign up for the Chitika Ad Network, feel free to sign up through my website at financialindependencemindset/Chitika. This is Sapient One. Thank you for your attention. Hope this has been helpful. We'll talk to you next time.